Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to
Welcome.
the Unite Show. We're here with Scott Britton. My name is Shine. This is my partner, Kristall.
Thank you.
It's
Yay.
wonderful to be here, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. I've been listening to your amazing podcast, and it's so nice to meet someone who's on the intersection of entrepreneurship and wellness and spirituality. And it's a rare combo. Maybe not as much these days, but super excited to like tap in and get to know you better.
Thanks, man. Well, yeah, I mean it's been traditionally rare, but let's change that, right?
Right.
You know, let's make it all one thing.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of us out there who desire for that integration.
Yeah. So so this is going to go out to our community, and a lot of them are in the wellness world and are wellness entrepreneurs, and a lot of them have they're practitioners. Tell people a little bit about you and what you're up to and your relationship with wellness.
Yeah, sure. So, my relationship with wellness has dramatically transformed over the past 15 years. I would say for the first 30 years of my life, I was a very optimized person, biohacker. You know, I was like, it's funny to see all these like blood work and longevity companies coming out because I was getting my blood work tested every quarter in like 2012 and really kind of just like dialed in completely physically. I was a college athlete. And my wellness expanded when I was journey expanded when I was 24. I started to develop alopecia from stress. And, you know, the doctor was like, well, you can take pills or you could do something natural like yoga or meditation. I was like, meditation? Like, I don't even know what that is. And, you know, that's really kind of how I started not wanting to be a bald guy at 24 years old was how my meditation journey started. And, yeah, I've been, you know, in that kind of entrepreneurial ecosystem the whole time. Started a company a couple years after that. And in the middle of that company, I was quite unhappy. I just, yeah, felt like I had like done all the right things, but for some reason life just didn't feel good. You know, it's just kind of, you look around, you're like, I don't get it. Like I have the job, I have the girlfriend, I'm living in New York City. Like, you know, what is going on? And
What was that company?
it was called Troops. It was a B2B SaaS company that in the Salesforce ecosystem.
Okay.
And yeah, that's when I basically that kind of like suffering and lack of fulfillment is what brought me to plant medicine. And so I had an ayahuasca experience. It was really my first altered state of consciousness. And after that, I mean, it was really just kind of like my heart got set on fire for the consciousness stuff. You know, all of the startup podcasts and Ben Greenfield and Dave Asprey and all that stuff just got replaced with seeking wisdom, seeking ancient wisdom and spiritual texts and trying to just understand, you know, what had I experienced and how could I make that more of my just waking state. And so, you know, that really kind of just thrust me into the spiritual consciousness lens and continued to do that while I was building my company. And it was kind of like my company, I became more of like an attendant to my company than obsessed with it, while it was really just the spiritual stuff front and center. And eventually that business sold to Salesforce. And I learned a lot about the relationship between physical health and like the consciousness during that experience. I'm still learning about that. They're much more connected than I had previously thought. And yeah, I think, you know, what I'm up to now is I have a book coming out called Conscious Accomplishment. It's really about how to do the spiritual growth and the achievement stuff at the same time and use one to inform the other. And I also have a company called Conscious Talent, which is about connecting entrepreneurs and leaders with executives and team members who are excellent in what they do and also deeply committed to their inner work and evolution.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so, yeah, that's a little bit more about me. And, you know, I'm just passionate about this whole concept of integration, of kind of like moving away from this culture of like, okay, we do our spirituality here and then we do our work here, or, you know, relationships here. It's kind of all just one thing. And, that's been what my journey has evolved into. And I'm excited to share that concept with others.
Amazing. Yeah. That reintegration concept of just how can we get back to a state of where we're not separating even people, you know, working and then retiring. And that's supposed to be the time when they get to live their best life and do the things they love. And really, you know, why are we separating those elements out, or vacation or the weekends, right? Like that's when I get to live, and all the rest of it is just some kind of existence. So yeah, there's so many ways that reintegration is really needed, and feels like it's the time for that. And I love hearing your journey to get to this place, and now commitment to help other people too. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Part of the reason why I chose to start a company versus join a company was because of this piece. I really wanted to show that a team of people who are aligned and who are doing the inner work will actually be so perform at such a high level, as well as you know, other teams where people are just stressed and there's just turnover and it's just not the culture isn't as good. And that was the big push for me to want to do something on my own, is to really, like, control is the wrong word, but to sort of steward that culture and to like create a space for that. And when I saw what you were doing, I actually found you through Cyan.
Amazing.
Researching her, and I saw your podcast with her, and that's how I first connected with you. And I so appreciate your thoughtful posts on X, and that's usually where I see your stuff. And it's just great. I'm like, oh, a business person talking about spirit. I'm like, it just warms my heart every time I see it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I feel the same. You know, I was equally happy to discover your work and ideas. And yeah, you know, I think there's this idea of like, okay, you know, spirituality or mindfulness, like I'll be a little less stressed out, and so I'll be better at my job.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought a lot, a long time about this connection. But that is really like the 1% of the relationship. You know, there's a much more fundamental relationship at play that, you know, I'd be happy to talk about, but I just think like most of our society seems to be kind of in that, oh, it's a nice to have. It's something I'll do after I make all my money and after I have all my success, versus seeing consciousness as kind of the fundamental thing that is creating all of it. And when you key into that, like where you want to put your energy towards shaping the experience you want changes.
Yeah, that we've been really getting solid on that, on kind of what is the barriers for people to doing more of this. Because like you said, once you get there, you're kind of like, how is this not something that is more important that more people are doing? And we really, with our wellness events and things, so much of what we focus on is the education piece of educating people on the value of this, that it's not just exactly if I meditate a bit, I'm less likely to yell at my wife, or, you know, I won't have to go to anger management, or, you know, I might perform a little bit better or get better sleep. And how do we teach people that that's a huge piece of what we do, is teaching people how to see this as not just a tool to kind of help you do a bit better, but actually like a fundamental thing that should be shaping your whole life. And once we get this piece, this alignment piece, this mental and emotional piece as the forefront, that's where everything else can come from. And we even talk about how what we want to do is take wellness and well-being from a luxury to a priority and a necessity for everyone. And it shouldn't just be for people that can pay for a massage once a month, or people who can pay for a meditation class and who have extra money. That's kind of, or the other people that get into wellness is the crisis. You've been diagnosed, you've got 2 months to live, your partner's on the edge of something, and you're like, okay, I don't care, I'm going to try everything. And that's, so we find, or through addiction, or so most people who are kind of getting into wellness, it's either, you know, that luxury piece where, oh, I've got some extra money, I've got some extra time, I'll check something out, or it's crisis mode. I don't have any other options. Maybe the medical systems, I don't like those options, or they don't even have any options for me. And what we really feel so strongly is if we can do this work first, we won't get to that medical need for the medical system piece at all. And then the medical system can do the broken bones and the, you know, the actual repair work. If we can take away the mental, emotional piece from being even a medical need and get that to just like an essential life practice, we feel like everything would shift.
Yeah.
How do you think that happens?
You want to share, Sweetie?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's first, it's a lot of education. It's people actually understanding that it's a thing and that it's possible and that it's real. And like we were chatting with investors, and someone was saying, you know, I don't know, this stuff, it's weird that people are charging money for this stuff, like psychic and whatever, like it's still very like fringe, and it's not well researched, and a lot of people don't see it as, let alone essential, they don't even see it as real or as a thing. Like they don't see the value. There's not clarity on what it actually does, and a lot of it still smells like snake oil. And maybe some of it is, I'm sure some of it is. And so there's that piece. There's like the education and the proof points across, you know, like a, what's that called? Transparent, like a layer of transparency where you can see, okay, verified review, someone that I know had this session and it really worked for them, and a, you know, layer of research and all that stuff. And then the second phase is personalization. Where are you at in your life? What's your budget? What's your timeline? All this stuff. What would most likely work for you? And that's really what we're focused on with Unite, is bridging those two things, is both the education and the personalization. And with a platform at the scale of eventually like a Facebook sized company and community. And I feel like that'll do it. It'll take a minute to get there.
Just create the next Facebook. No big deal.
Literally, yeah. That's the goal, is to do it that way. Yeah. And then use the profits to build the infrastructure and the wellness centers and the communities and all that stuff. But it's a 30, 50, whatever year plan. It's gonna be a journey. Maybe it'll be faster. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, picking a big audacious goal is a worthy pursuit. And one also that will really stretch you from a conscious perspective.
Oh my God. Nothing comes close. We worked with a guy, and he was the CEO of the company, and we were running events, and the level of freedom and fun, and it was like, ooh, we get to display and create, and let's connect. It was just so fun. And then as soon as we shifted from that to
our own business,
I'm the CEO. Oh my God. Yeah. The difference is like, it's not, it's like 100 times. Like, I don't think anyone can understand it unless they go through it. Cause it was such a crazy shift for me. It was so much personal, the doubt and the self-worth and it's all on me. And it's all a reflection of me. And we're still, I mean, we're in the middle of it right now. It's an intense process.
And
I get it. Me too.
Having the right people around you and the people that get it. And that's why I love the work that you're doing in supporting people because like we said, the education piece, if you need to teach people that mindfulness matters, and then like teaching your employees that this is important, and still trying to get them to do their role and their job at the same time. Like, I think you're just giving people a real leg up by connecting them with people that are already maybe a few steps in that same direction, and doing that kind of making that infrastructure so that those processes at least can be speeded up. So yeah, I absolutely love that. Do you want to share more about kind of how you got to that that place and yeah, brought that together?
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I think when I first kind of realized the inner work stuff, I mean, I had to, first off, a direct experience changes everything. And I think it's really hard for people to kind of buy in and embrace things when they haven't had some type of direct experience that there's something more, there's
Yeah.
something bigger. And so I had that experience through plant medicine. And I was very, you know, and by the way, that was after 6 years of meditation, right? Like, I had kind of been at this a little bit, although I had never saw it as a way to see reality more clearly. I was just doing it to be less stressed out. And, I, you know, at one point thought that, okay, if I'm going to really take this seriously, does that mean becoming a monk? Does it mean like piecing out of my company and just like reading spiritual books all the time and just like meditating a lot during the day? And I was fortunate enough to meet a teacher who basically said to me, like, your response to life is like what your growth is. Like, it doesn't, anytime you're resisting reality unfolding as it is, you are like not in, essentially not aligned with your true self. And, and so she kind of gave me an exercise of like, start noticing whenever you're disturbed, you know, by anything. And that could be like an overt reaction, but it could be a thought, right? It could be a feeling and sensation in my body. And so I started to do that. And I very quickly realized that, my business and my relationships and my finances, like all of it was just like very fertile ground for, understanding why I was reacting that way and essentially using it as a gateway to explore a greater portion of my consciousness. You know, what were the concepts and formative experiences that created that way of relating to the world?
Yes.
And so, yeah, I mean, that was really the start of my journey and start of the kind of integration. And I now, you know, see every moment as every day is essentially happening for that purpose, right? It's allowing us to see more of ourselves. And in the process of growing our understanding and awareness, also reach greater potential. And in terms of what we can do and how we can serve. And yeah, and it's why I consider it fundamental. Like, I believe that it's not just happening, it's like the reason your life is happening the way it is for this purpose. Like, reality is unfolding so that you can come back to your authenticity and to so that you can expand and know more of yourself. And like that's the algorithm. And so, you know, it just, when you start to have these experiences and start to realize these things, it's not only like, yeah, do this stuff. It's like, it is the intelligent thing to do. Like, the intelligent thing to do is to prioritize your consciousness, prioritize your awareness, prioritize understanding why you're relating the way that you are, because life will continue to express and respond that way to you until you shift the consciousness.
Yeah.
And so if you want to change your life, change your consciousness. It's really that simple. And for some of us, like myself, we don't have a choice. Like, I didn't, you know, want to go down this path. Like, I never, like, I was like, oh, I'm going to become a, you know, a business yogi, or I'm going to really commit myself to this. It was kind of like this, for whatever reason. You can call it karma, you can call it destiny. There's a million ideas out there about it, but, you know, and I have thoughts on that, but I just know that for whatever reason, this is the way my life has gone. And, you know, the sooner you embrace that, the less suffering there is.
Right.
Yeah. Life. I love that life is happening for you, not to you. And it's been such a big part of this. It's been really acknowledging, like, seeing that and knowing that, and then having the trust to follow that. And we've recently been really challenged financially because we're kind of trying to do more on the tech side. We've been running events full time for 9 years. That's been our full time income, and we're trying to like transition out of that more into the tech, and it's been bumpy. And I think this chapter in our book is going to be called Angels and Miracles, because it's like every time that we kind of almost run out of money or we're just not sure where it's going to come from, like big miracles, just angels come out of nowhere. Literally, like sometimes I'm like, I was praying with a tree and I like, hey, all right, universe, like, I don't know where this money is going to come from, but we need it in 3 days and it's more money than we usually make in a month. Okay. And then a text that second, hey, I want to do this. And, you know, there's the money. Literally, it's just crazy stuff where you're thinking.
That's amazing. I love those moments are so rich.
Yeah.
I love what you said, fertile ground. It's the best. That's the best, nicest way of saying problems I've ever heard of. It's like, it's such a nice reframe.
Right.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. We really have been talking a lot about, we went to the Edge Esmeralda event this summer in Healdsburg, California, and I really appreciate they were talking a lot about hardware and software for humanity, and that the hardware is the things we do, the things we create, the communities, the physical things, the infrastructure, even the biohacking, the food, that's all the hardware that keeps our system growing and evolving. And there's been a huge movement for upgrading humanity's hardware, from eat more environmental roads and just taking better care of the forest fires and biohacking, and like there's lots of things, you know, eating healthier food. There's lots of things supporting the upgrade for humanity's hardware. And how can we live a better life? How can we support the refugees? How can we support the at-risk youth? And we kind of went, so if we look at a computer and we know that the computer, you can upgrade the hardware all you want, make this beautiful fancy box. If you don't upgrade the software, you're not using half of that hardware. It's not going to make any difference. We need to upgrade the software along with it. And we're like, what is the software for humanity? And then it both clicked for us. Of course, it's the mindset. It's the mental piece. It's how we talk to ourselves. It's how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about the world, the ceremonies, like you said, doing plant medicine, doing breath work, doing all these things where we're able to get out of our human reality infrastructure and into an altered state where we can experience ourselves not as that separate, disconnected, but as one with source, as one with our higher self, as one with God. That is the software upgrade. And we were saying, so who's focusing on supporting humanity and doing that software upgrade? And like you said, we really believe the problems in the world don't come from lack of resources, don't come from even, you know, lack of anything. It comes from that lack of the mindset upgrade. The wars, everything, it all comes from people thinking there's scarcity, thinking they have to stop something or put something down for them to be safe. But if we could move through that, like you said, we know all those pieces, all that comes from trauma, that comes from some trauma somewhere. And when we are connected to source, to ourselves, we can then connect to each other. And when we're connected that way, we can't do any of the self-harm, the addiction, the negative talk, and we can't do any of the actual harm to each other. All that harm comes from that lack of the human software upgrade. So that's kind of a big piece in our pitch for Unite of what we're actually doing is we're creating the infrastructure for humanity to upgrade the humanity software. And like you said, the 3 ways that we really do that and see that happening is through experience, right? People need to, why would I change and do this thing if you just tell me to do it? They need to experience it. They need to get a felt sense of it. They need to have access to it. So it doesn't matter if you experience it and you think it's great, but you can't ever afford it again. You have no access to it. It's too far away. It's not in your city. It's not. So there needs to be access. experience. And then the third piece is that repetition. And that's where living in supportive communities, supportive environments, having supportive communities online, having supportive work environments where we're actually getting to keep doing it over and over again and integrate it, like you said, into our lives. That's kind of creates that holistic piece of where we can actually affect change.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I love the software hardware metaphor. I haven't heard that before. I also love how, like, for whatever reason, like tech metaphors for this stuff, like it just seems to be like what our culture gravitates towards.
I think it's a little bit of an overcompensation for feeling like we need to ground, and maybe not overcompensation, I think it's good, but to ground the very esoteric spiritual concepts in something that feels so. I think if we were another generation, we would talk brick and mortar, right? We would talk hammer and nails. That's, I know what my dad, that was their generation, was how to make something physical, was brick and mortar, hammer and nails. And I feel like our generation, what makes something real is the you know, the actual the interface, the neurons firing, the computer speaking the language. Those kind of elements help at least my brain take it from something that feels intangible, untangible, non-tangible, into like, oh, this is a real thing. It's not only tangible, but we can apply it and create real change with it.
Beautiful.
Scott, tell us more about your new company and the book too, if you want. But I'm super fired up about the company as well. Yeah. So tell us about
kind of like we could start with the company. You know, I think like a lot of us get on this path and it just fundamentally shifts everything. It changes how you see the world. It changes what you like to do. It changes who you like to be around. And, you know, you find yourself in a situation, whether it's at work or your relationships or friendships or whatever historical context. And all of a sudden you're like, people don't see the world the same as me. And these people don't get it. And I had this experience at my company where I was getting into all this stuff. And then I was just, you know, kind of living a double life. Like I had my spiritual consciousness, esoteric interests, and then I had my kind of like reality of running a tech business. Yeah. And there just comes a point where that misalignment and that compartmentalization just stops working. And so I think like really what we're trying to do with Conscious Talent is like change culture. It's to start to show examples of, hey, there's a group of entrepreneurs out there and a group of business builders who really care about this stuff. In fact, they care about it so much that they're willing to prioritize it in who they build their companies with. And guess what? When that happens, magic happens. And so we're right now, it's like you have these people, all these people that are into this stuff. They don't talk to anybody about it. They don't put it on their LinkedIn. Very few share on social media, and none of them can find each other. Yeah. And so people are kind of like not surrounded by their people and also not building companies in a way that is, in my opinion, of the highest service of the collective. Yeah. And so we think that, you know, by kind of planting a flag in the ground and saying, hey, companies, operators, if you guys are into this, like, we'll help you find each other. And so that's what we do. And yeah, right now we're partnering with a bunch of really exciting companies, and we're helping them find, you know, leaders and key team members who are just aligned. And I think when that happens, like what is possible in the ways you run a business and what you can do changes. Because there's just a mutual level of understanding and openness to some of these ideas.
Well, you're creating a shared language. And I think that's the piece that's so, you know, we know, of course, it's so fun to be able to be multicultural and meet new people. And for a while, there's going to be a language barrier if you don't know the language the other person is speaking, you've got to spend time understanding their language, understanding their customs. And that's a wonderful experience in and of itself. But when you're also trying to build a business, it really takes away a lot of energy when you're trying to instill these values and these mindsets, and they're coming top down from your boss saying, this is the way we do the culture here. Whereas if you have already done the piece where you've gathered people that are speaking a same language and culture, you can just jump right into the synergy getting there so much quicker because you're already a step ahead with that. Yeah, with that shared culture. And I think that's a thing that we were talking with someone earlier today, that there isn't a home for this community. There isn't a one religion that unites this community. There isn't one country that does it. There isn't one business that does it, one field. Like it's universal, and there isn't that unifying factor. And I love that you're taking something that is so fundamental, the people you work with, and the ability for, you can destroy a team with one person that's out of alignment and off, can wreck everything. So I think too that you're creating that shared language, attracting the people right off the bat is just next level for these companies to be able to jump right in. And yeah, it's like if you go to a advanced yoga class with a bunch of beginners and you've got to go through all the basic steps with them, and you're basically getting everyone who's on the same page in the same spot at the same time. So well done. It's just
Thank
such a
you.
service.
Yeah, I think a lot of companies, they try to solve for this by like ramping people up. Hey, let's bring in some facilitators to teach conscious leadership principles, or let's all read this book. And those are great uses of time. I fully support that. But there is just a benefit to finding people that are already aligned.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of downsides to people joining a business, someone having some type of transformation event, and then being like, wait a second, I didn't sign up for this. Like, I'm glad the founder is like into this stuff now, but like, this isn't what I thought I was signing up for from a job perspective. So yeah, I think that's, there's just immense benefit to just finding the people that resonate and just creating with them. And that's what we're doing with Conscious Talent. And to talk about my book, Conscious Accomplishment, that's really kind of targeted at the same people, right? Where there's this idea, and I certainly held it, of like, you have to choose between, spiritual growth or having all the things you want and being successful and making things happen and contribution. And that's just not true.
Yeah.
There's a path that largely has not been well publicized in the West. Sometimes in Eastern traditions, they call it a householder, where you can be earnestly devoted to your spiritual evolution, and you can have a job, and you can have a family, and you can have all of these things. And so the book is really teaching people how to use everyday life and the reactions to it as a primary spiritual practice, and then specifically channel that mindset into, how to pursue their goals and dreams and things they want to create, and use that in service of their evolution. And as that happens and their awareness expands, they actually are more capable of doing things that they previously weren't able to. So there's a beautiful synergistic relationship that starts to emerge. And it's to me, it's like, it's so obvious and it's so incredible, but yet not many people talk about that. And as a result, there's a lot of people that are like how I was, where it's like, okay, I get it. Like, maybe this spirituality stuff is like a more fundamental way to work on my well-being. But how do I do this?
Yeah.
Like, how do I really commit myself? What does that look like in a modern context?
Yeah.
And hopefully the book helps people to bring them both together.
I really love that. I think you're creating that accessibility, because like you said, I mean, you found this through doing a wonderful plant medicine ceremony, and that's amazing. And lots of people, will find they go to a big retreat, they have a big awakening, they have a big crash and burn, and then they end up at something like that. And we can learn that way, or we could kind of be a little more, just drip in a little bit, soften it, integrate it into our regular, not have to throw out everything. I got to quit my job and quit my spouse and quit my religion and quit everything because the reason I'm here is because everything is wrong. Throw it all out, start over. And sure, you can do that if you want. But I feel like that kind of extreme of what's the point of changing, because it's going to be it's so extreme. And what you're doing is saying you don't have to throw everything out. You can start from where you are and just step yourself forward. And once you start opening up and stepping yourself forward, you may then, drift into some retreats or some other modalities that are helpful for you. But what you're doing is you're kind of creating that opening and that curiosity and that willingness to check things out and step into that, maybe before crisis, before you've lost your business, before someone's died, and kind of be able to start making change on what feels like a manageable pace rather than fuck it all and away we go. So
yeah. I think you don't have to quit your job. You don't have to leave your partner. You don't have to move. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You just have to start noticing how you relate to everything around you.
Yeah.
And that can be done anywhere.
Those are all the teachers, the reflections that you can use to get that.
Yeah.
That's right.
So what's happening now? How can we or people watching support you? What are the next steps? Any challenges or
asks? I appreciate it. Well, I think if what I just shared about the book resonates, buy the book, share it with others. I think I'm passionate about this message, and I'll send you guys the link so that you have it. And I just know that this was the medicine that I needed when I really got started on this path. And I also think it's a timely message for our society. And so we can all live in this modern experience where we need money and we want to do stuff and yet have a deeply profound spiritual experience that makes us better people and opens our hearts. And on the conscious talent side of things, we're always looking for companies, right, that are excited about what we're talking about and building a more conscious company and finding the people that are in alignment. And the same goes for operators who want to work for those type of people. And so if you go to Conscious Talent, you'll see a place to learn more about enlisting our hiring help, as well as joining our talent network, where basically as soon as we start a new engagement with a client, we go there and we say, hey, who do we know? Who's in our ecosystem that could be a good fit for this opportunity? So if it's basically a pretty short form. If you fill that out, we can find you. And those are kind of the ways that I would say to engage. And, in terms of what's the challenge, right? For me on both fronts, it's just awareness is what it feels like. It's just I meet people all the time, at least with Conscious Talent. They're like, whoa, I wish I knew about this earlier.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I'm so grateful to be here and sharing more. And I would say the same goes with the whole concept around integration of these two aspects between the work and the life and the spirituality. It's there's a lot of people that I think would benefit from that type of information. And we just need to reach them where they're at and see, who it resonates with.
Amazing.
We need a Conscious Talent API right in our dashboard on Unite.
Right.
So all of our
that'd be cool.
Find it.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. It's similar. A lot of VCs have job boards on their site, and all their portfolio companies who's hiring, blah blah blah. It's so it's so needed. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm here. We're here. I'm going to support, I'm going to share the crap out of it, and, probably make a bunch of connections if you want. And like, okay, here we go. It's my favorite part.
Yeah. Well, to add to kind of, is it more in person, online, the jobs? Is it a mix of both?
I would say probably over half the roles that we're searching for are remote. And then like we're doing searches for companies in LA and San Francisco. It's like they want people to be coming in the office. So I think it really depends. And I think it depends. I would say. And I would say for now, like most of the companies that we're working with, I'd say probably 70% of them are technology companies. And also working with, some services businesses. We're working with one of the world's top healers. So all different types of people. But those I would say are concentrations.
Nice. What would you say is kind of the easiest role for you to kind of like match up? And then what is like, I'd love to see more businesses like this and more people looking for jobs like this. Like what kind of would be like it'd be so fun to have more like this.
Yeah. Well, I'd say, ironically, like the place where I see the highest concentration of people that are looking for this type of thing is actually like people that have built a business before. And maybe that's something about, if you're an entrepreneur, there might be a greater appetite for trying things and experimenting and failing and like all these things that might like put you on a consciousness path. But like I meet a ton of like people that have built a business that are, looking for a role or looking for their collaboration or their next opportunity. And probably even more so than, people that are, I would consider more like contributors, individual contributors. And just what I'm seeing in the market is like right now, like over half our searches are technical. So a lot of people want to find, engineering talent and sometimes product talent that are on this path, which I think is really cool and unexpected, because I would have thought that would have been like the hardest, like least likelihood, but turning out not to be true. And I think it's just kind of like still early days, so a lot of this is still we're still figuring it out, and the market's still kind of revealing itself.
Amazing. Fun. I'm excited to see how it develops and to kind of keep being able to be like, okay, network, like this person is there's this need or this niche. And I feel like so many people are, even with their education or training or skill sets, sometimes they can be building that towards like an old paradigm. And like, oh, I think people are going to want to hire me if I'm good at this, and I should do these courses and I should do these things so that I'm desirable and hireable. And I think it's going to be really fun to see as you're working more with people that are having different priorities for their employees and their collaborators, to see how that's also going to kind of shape the way people prepare themselves for these roles. And like you said, to see so many of these people have actually been business owners and done that, and have that skill set of knowing what it's like. And we know that you can't really train for that. So yeah, that's really cool. We'll see what kind of schools and programs and everything develop as there's more and more of a desire for these, what I think used to be considered like soft skills, and we're actually seeing are actually the number one skill, is this kind of consciousness piece.
Well, yeah, I'm excited to see it as well. And it's cool to have a front row seat. And I just want to say thanks so much for having me on the show, guys. It was really a pleasure, and I'm glad I finally got to meet after our online interactions. It's been a real honor.
Yeah. Do you have another minute? I have one more question.
I do have to go.
Okay.
but we can definitely sync up over X or something.
Sounds good.
Amazing.
So nice to connect.
Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, all the best. And we're excited to keep connecting people to you and the wonderful work you're doing.
Thank you so much, guys. Keep up the great work yourself.
Thank you.
Talk soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.